I'm Beth Graves, and thank you for joining us on the Circus Arts Spotlight. Each week, we'll shine the spotlight on the people, programs, and events of the Circus Arts Conservatory. In addition to professional and student youth performances, you'll explore incredible outreach programs and learn how the circus arts impact so many aspects of life. For more information on today's topic or anything circus arts related, please go to our website, circusarts.org. That's circusarts.org. Let's get started. Hi, this week we shine the spotlight on CAC Education Manager and Teaching Artist Karen Bell. Karen started her career as a clown with the Ringling Brothers and Barnum Bailey Circus and is the only female clown in the history of the show to have had a solo ring gag. Now she uses her talent to teach children science, physics, and language arts in local elementary and middle schools. Hi, Karen.
Hello, Beth.
Can you, I gave a short little quick story of your background, but can you tell us more, please?
Oh, let's see. I was born on a coal. No, we don't want that. Not that far back. I graduated from high school wanting to be a doctor. Went through pre-med and realized that was not my specialty, and then just kind of really did a lot of searching. I went to art school, got a degree in fine arts, which just thrilled my parents, and became a professional dancer, and then moved to San Francisco, which thrilled my parents even more. And then while I was living in San Francisco, Ringling Brothers, Barnum Bailey Circus came through auditioning for their clown college. And I definitely had a funny bone, thanks to my father. And so I auditioned and was accepted to clown college. And that was in 1985. And that thrilled my parents even more. So the clown college consisted of 10 weeks of study, learning everything from clown makeup to mime and juggling and acrobatics and clown history and the history of the circus and how to give interviews or take interviews. And at the end of that time period, we had a audition for the owner of the circus. And out of 60 people, there were 12 of us chosen that year to go on the road.
And so Clown College, was that in Venice, Florida?
That was in Venice, Florida.
So you moved to San Francisco, and then you had to move all the way across country to Venice.
Correct, yes.
Wow. And then the Ringling Brothers, was that Kenneth Feld or his?
That was Kenneth Feld.
Okay.
That was the first year. Irvin Feld had just passed away.
Okay. And so how many clown, I know the Clown College closed.
Mm-hmm.
Was that quite a few years after? I don't have any idea what the time frame is for that. Were you one of the last clown college people?
No, I was pretty smack dab in the middle.
Okay.
Yeah. I was in 85. It closed in 94.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so there was a good amount of time there.
Yes, yeah.
So you went on the road, and just in this country?
No, I was on the road here for 8 years, but during that time frame, they had the Gold Unit, which opened in Japan, and I was asked to go over to Japan for, it was 7 months.
Wow, that's
tour, yeah,
really exciting.
which was very cool.
And so were there a lot of female clowns?
No, it was a big surprise for me. My clown college class was 58 people, and about 10 of us were female, which, coming from the dance world, was just shocking to me because it's always the opposite in the dance world. So that was. And then on the road, there were 24 clowns and 4 being female.
Wow.
Yeah.
So of the 12 that they took from your class, how many were female? Do you remember?
Right about, I think about 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. That's really something.
Luckily, I was older. When I went to clown college, I was 26. Most of the people that go through clown college are much younger than that. They're like right out of high school.
Oh.
So I had a lot more experience with performing to begin with, and then I developed the mom face, I call it, where when the boys are misbehaving, I could just look at them and they would
behave a little better.
Yes.
So I mentioned in my introduction that you are the only female clown in the history of the Ringling Brothers to have had a solo ring gag.
Yes.
I'm not sure how many people actually know what that is, so could you explain that?
True. So a solo ring gag is, there are 3 rings in the circus,
right?
At least with Ringling Brothers, and of those 3, I had a solo gag in one of those 3. So there were 3 different gags going on at the same time. But I had my own ring. Muhaha.
That one must have been very exciting.
It was, and it was my second year on the road, so I wasn't very popular with some of the more senior, yes, who thought they should have. I was an upstart.
And then, so you were with the Ringlings for how many years?
I was with them for 8 years performing and touring. And then I came back and worked their winter quarters, which is their rehearsal time, for, another 5 or 6 years. And then also taught at Clown College for a couple years.
So when you said you rehearsed at the winter quarters, what does that mean exactly?
So when they're putting on a new show, they're just like in the theater, you're developing a new show. I was like the shop foreman for the clown department. So I was in charge of making sure that costumes were built, props were built, and making sure that the clowns knew their roles. They weren't sleeping when the owner came by, things like that.
So, and that was all in one place. You weren't traveling anymore after that?
No.
So you were one of the people that lived on a train for a while.
I did. I loved that.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, the circus train was about a mile long, and each one of the train cars had a special reason for being. There were, like Gunther Gable-Williams, if you remember him, was a famous tiger trainer.
Right.
And so he was the star of the show. So he had an entire train car to himself. As a clown coming on the road, I had a room about the size of your bathtub.
Oh, okay.
And not the jacuzzi, just the little old bathtub. So you had lots of room up. You had a window and a sliding door. And then there was a hallway and another room on the other side of that hallway.
Okay.
And so each of the clowns had a room of their own. Being a female clown, I was with the dancers.
Oh, okay.
So they had the boys in one train car and the girls in the other. And then we all shared a kitchen and shared bathroom space.
Wow.
So, but it was my favorite place to be, because you'd go to bed Sunday night after the last final show, and you'd wake up Monday morning in a totally new place.
Right. And I guess you didn't have very many belongings at that time.
No, you did not. You had, although I remember one of the clowns had a slot machine in his room. I don't know where he slept, but
really?
he
and
was
so,
just important to him.
Knowing you now, as I do, in your role here at the Circus Arts Conservatory, you have lots and lots and lots of stuff.
I do. I have more props and.
So not only an office, but a separate storage space for all of your clown props and other
Correct,
things.
yes.
And this helps to accommodate your programs that you offer through the Circus Arts Conservatory Education Department.
Yes.
So you go into different schools and you teach children.
Yes.
Would you like to tell us some of that?
Sure. So we work with kids from preschool all the way through 8th grade. And we focus mostly on science, because physics is the science of motion, and the circus is a great example of all of those concepts. So especially these invisible concepts that are really hard to grapple with, like friction and gravity and potential and kinetic energy. And so we are able to pair a circus act with some of those concepts that are best paired with that, and then we just teach it that way. So,
can you give us an example of one?
Oh, so for instance, teeterboard is like a seesaw on your playground.
Okay.
And it's a great example of Newton's second law of motion, which for those of you who need a brushing up, is force equals mass times acceleration. So you can change a force by changing the mass or the weight of something, or by accelerating it, changing the speed. So if a person were to jump down on one side of the teeterboard and you had a person on the other side of the teeterboard, they're going to fly up in the air a certain amount. But if you took two people and had them jump down on the teeterboard, the person on the other side is going to fly up significantly higher because we've changed the mass.
So, but you don't teach the preschoolers the pre-kindergarten.
We teach the concept of it. We don't teach the verbiage of it. But I have actually one of the classes that we do with the pre-kindergartners is having a spoon that's wrapped around a cork so that you get to, it looks like a little tiny teeter-totter. Right. And they experiment with how hard they push something with their hand and how high it goes. And then we do a simple kind of graphing of what they've discovered.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
And that they get it.
Yeah, they do. They do.
And then I know one of the I want to say exciting again because I keep using that word, but one of the most exciting programs offered is the Circus Science Machine. Can you give us a little bit about that?
The marvelous, miraculous circus machine. Thank you, God. I lost it there. I've only been doing it 7 years. And so with this, in 5th grade, students are tested with the state testing for force and motion, which is physics. And so we come into the classroom with supplies like dominoes and balls and ramps, and ask the students to create a cause and effect machine using these supplies. And they can also use other supplies as well, provided by the teachers. And the idea is that they have to get a ball into a cup. We make it more exciting by saying it's a human cannonball into the net. And they have to have a certain amount of causes and effects to make that happen. And they work in teams, which is very beneficial because, of course, in the workplace of the future, that's what is required of them. Yes. And it also just, more heads are better than one. So they work together on that. And then at the end of the curriculum, they are invited to the Sailor Circus Arena, where we have an educational event, which is a giant arena-sized cause and effect machine. So if you think about a mousetrap as a kid that you played, take that and then just multiply it 1,000,000 times. That's what we have. And in between the pieces of our circus machine, our cause and effect machine, we have circus acts. And we keep reminding the students where the science is in those circus acts as well as we go along through the machine. So
you said you've been doing that for 7 years.
7 years.
And what are the results of this lesson?
Well, we've had several different results. One is overall, we've had about a 36 percentile learning gain.
Wow.
But last year we worked with several Title I schools that have pretty low scores in physical science, and we had a 56% learning gain.
Wow, that's really incredible.
Yeah. And it's really, we're using arts integration, and we're using, all the learning styles that students have, which are, there's some students that are visual, some that are oral, some that have to touch everything. And so we really use all of those learning styles so that all the kids can somehow relate.
So I've actually sat in on some of these presentations of the machine, and around with the children sitting all around me, and they would literally gasp at the circus performers because a lot of the children have never been to the circus before.
Right.
So they don't even realize that they're learning.
Yes.
They just think they're having a good time, which is really wonderful.
True. And it's great for the performers because you have this arena full of like 10-year-olds that are just on the edge of their seats with excitement and learning.
And these are things that the teachers would be teaching anyway, is that correct?
Correct, yes.
So they probably love that you're there helping them out, giving them a little break, and yet the kids are learning so well.
Right, yeah. So we provide the entire curriculum for them so that they have all the standards that the Florida state requires for that unit.
And then can you tell about how the partnership with University of South Florida, Sarasota Manatee came about, because they're also involved in this program?
Yes. And so we work with the University of South Florida's Center for Paint, which is partnerships in collaboration with teaching arts integration. So what we're doing is we are teaching teachers how to use arts integration as a way to teach their curriculum. And that means arts integration means you're doing a cross-curricular teaching modality, which is a fancy way of saying you take science and you take art, you put them together, and it's arts integration. So you're using the arts to help students get a deeper understanding of the core curriculum that they're teaching. So with USF, we have been working with them for the past 3 years, I think. Dr. Denise Davis-Cotton is the coordinator for the Center for Paint. And in 2017, we were invited to the Smithsonian Folklife Festival in Washington, D.C., and that was the entire Circus Arts Conservatory. The Folk Arts Festival every year chooses a theme and then presents this amazing curated theme tour to anybody that wants to come to the mall to see it for free. And that year it was circus, so it was all about circus. And we had a tent set up for education. So we were